What's going on, everybody? The Cinephellas are back tonight, and we've got a brand new movie that we are going to review tonight. We are talking about the Hulu original film. It's going back to the 50s and 60s in Boston, of course. We're talking about the Boston Strangler.
I don't want to get fired tonight.
Any lawyer worth a dime would pick this apart.
You really want to use this paper to tear down the police department?
If anyone else was blowing it this badly, we'd have put it on the front page a long time ago.
I need you to take down an address. If I don't call back in an hour, give it to the police.
Loretta, there's more than one lunatic out there, and you're going to get us both killed.
A safe little world is just delusion.
And that's right. This is like one of the old school serial killers going around. Obviously, the serial killer happening in Boston. Women found, strangled, and they're trying to figure out this exactly, who's behind the crimes, who the killer is. And that's really the setup of this film, is about these two reporters. You had Jean Cole, that played by Carrie Coon, which we love here. Keira Knightley playing Loretta McLaughlin. And they're reporters, and they're writing about the Boston Strangler and putting the murders together to figure out, who's behind this.
I love these kind of projects, watching the documentaries, the true crime ones on Netflix that they put out about Richard Ramirez. All those true crimes, led me to this film. I enjoy hearing about events that happened back in the day that I didn't really know about in the past. And this one had a great story, one that kept you guessing until the end, and focused in on Keira Knightley and Carrie Coon's characters, and all the, they had to go through a lot of sexism back in the day, being women, trying to solve this, these murders, and having nobody take what they say, seriously just because they're women. It was just a sign of the times. And they had to work through that. And, ultimately they were able to work the case so well that they couldn't be denied. And, their work wasn't just in vain. They had to, suffer through a lot of personal anguish and suffering, as well as professionally. But this is really the story about how they were able to rise above that and, help bring down one of the most, prolific serial killers ever.
Yeah, definitely. With all the big names out there, the Boston Strangler is definitely the one that comes to mind. And this happening back in the 1960s, didn't have the technology we have today. Back then it was a little different too for women in the workplace. And then putting this newspaper and talking about what exactly is going on and how they connected these three murders with women that were killed and strangled, and putting it all together. So based on a true story, this is really remarkable, hearing about these characters and what they did for this case.
It was good to see our old pal Alessandro Nivola show up in another movie. It had been a while since we saw Uncle Dickie, but he's always great in his roles. It's a small side role, but he's one of the, the other policemen, I believe, or detective that, actually believes what Keira Knightley's Loretta is telling him. And he believes her. He's trying to get other people convinced, but he's having a tough time doing it. But he's got her back. So I liked his character, and I really enjoyed Chris Cooper as Loretta's boss, playing the old, the guy that respects her reporting, but he knows that he has to play it pretty close to the cuff, otherwise he's going to get shit canned. And so he's hearing it from his boss, but he's also trying to keep her on the case because he really believes in her, but he knows that he's going to have to, toe the line a little bit.
Yeah, and one of my favorite performances, actually, this is Rory Cochrane from Dazed and Confused and Empire Records, older,
yes,
more
heavier,
heavier set. But he works with Keira Knightley's character because they think they solve the case, right? They put the Boston Strangler away, and then detective in Michigan, he's like, hey, there's some murders, same kind of stuff for a copycat of the Boston Strangler. So they formed this relationship trying to figure that out. But I liked his character. He played a detective.
Hadn't watched this in a few weeks, but now that you mention it, yeah, he does do a good job. He picks up interesting roles nowadays. I've seen him pop up in some other movies. He likes the more dramatic roles, and it's cool to see him back on the screen after all these years. Good that he's still getting work. He's a good actor. The solid movie, I really enjoyed this movie, learning about the history. This wasn't it didn't show a lot of brutality like, the Jeffrey Dahmer show or anything like that. It doesn't get really graphic. It just gives you a little glimpse into what happened. This is more about the psychology of trying to crack the case and then get into the killer's head, find out, what's happening when the murders are happening in multiple places, and working to overcome the sexism in that time for these women, and put all the pieces together and like really investigate what they're, the Boston Police Department was kind of trying to keep this hushed, make it seem like it wasn't a serial killer. But, after she saw all the similar, things and how the bodies were set up with the bows around them and everything and putting the pieces together, it's very interesting. So if you like investigation, this movie is really great for that. And, it also had some great performances from Keira Knightley and Carrie Coon. Love both of these actresses, and they do a great job in this. And highly enjoyed this film on Hulu.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it as well. It's nothing new when it comes to the crime drama space here, but it reminded me a lot of Zodiac, David Fincher's film, which is probably my favorite of the genre. Very similar in that aspect. Just writing wasn't as good, but the characters' performances here that really drive the movie and exactly what happens at the end, and sets up some questions. But Keira Knightley, Carrie Coon, I always love them, love her especially, and really brought some powerhouse performances to this movie, and it's a movie I highly recommend. So that being said, I'm going to give Boston Strangler, streaming on Hulu, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 Keira Knightley hair pieces.
Loretta. You mentioned this not being as good as, past, films and TV shows of, serial killers and investigations, Zodiac. Just thinking of David Fincher directing this just blows my mind how awesome it could have been. But, that would have been too similar to Zodiac. But this was a really good movie. I really enjoyed this. The story was had me guessing until the end. I didn't really know what happened in this case. I'd always heard of the Boston Strangler, but seeing how the case was cracked and seeing how it all played out was fascinating, and I enjoyed my time watching Boston Strangler. So with that being said, I'm going to give Hulu's Boston Strangler a 3.5 out of 5 Carrie Coon hair pieces.
I want to hear from all you true crime enthusiasts out there. What did you like about the Boston Strangler? What didn't you like about it? What's your favorite movie or TV show? True crime. Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out these wild rascals on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and our website, Cinephellas.com, for the latest, greatest TV movie news and reviews.
Thank you guys for watching our review of Boston Strangler. We want to hear from you guys after you watch it. Make sure to comment. Let us know your thoughts on the movie. We love hearing from you. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We have a Fellas giveaway going on right now. We're giving away 3 classic movie 4K digital codes in the month of April here. The giveaway will go on until the 27th of April, and we have a lot of exciting reviews to come in April. We're really stoked for the movies that are coming out the rest of the month. Specifically Evil Dead Rise. We can't wait for that one. But we've got some other great movies that we're going to be reviewing, as well as TV shows. So with that being said, these 2 wild rascals are going back on the job to investigate. Until the next time, I'm Uncle Henry.
And I'm Uncle Logan Knightley. I'm going to go back to Boston Harbor next time.
2 more lights. Cheers.